Alright, I'm ready. Can I hold the mic? Is that cool? I know, right? Just like, I kind of like holding the mic better than I like to not hold the mic. I'm just creating problems. Hi, everybody. I'm Pete Stone. I do comedy occasionally. I have a day job, obviously, because I can actually buy a jacket. I really appreciate the opportunity to do this room. My buddy was like, you should totally come to this room and do it once because it's more fun than the place up the street here. So again, thanks everybody for coming out. I had a whole bunch of jokes that I was gonna do, and then this weekend happened. So I was gonna tell you what happened as a story, and we'll see if that works. So on Friday, I came back to my new apartment that I just got, like, hooray, in Luray. And there was this old lady, very suspicious, in a minivan, sitting there, looking at me meaningfully. Which is never a good sign when an old crone is looking at you meaningfully on a Friday. We've all listened to like stories, and I'm like, it's never a good sign. It's just gonna be bad. And I get out and she goes, "Are you Pete?" And I'm like, "Yes." You doubt yourself when an old lady yells at you, "Are you Pete?" Maybe I'm not. And so now I'm from the county and you're being served with your divorce papers. Of course I am. That's fantastic. I appreciate you very much. And I go up and I grab the papers and I walk in the building and I look at my phone. It's like, fuck, I gotta get on this phone call, so you have to be professional. You gotta get it together, even though she's divorcing you. I got this. So we get on the phone and I'm talking to these guys about science and shit, and it's cool and everything's fine, and then there's like a on the door. Guys, I gotta get that, and like all of a sudden, like the veneer goes away. It starts melting off your face, like it's the end of the freaking first Harrison Ford like movie with the guy in the box. So you walk over, and and the guy's on the phone. You got clients, they're trying to be professional. They're like, oh, but they can hear it dripping off your face. Like, and you're like, you open the door, and you're like, what? And there's this beautiful woman standing there with flowers, and she's like, these are for you. They're like a housewarming gift. Your friends send them. They're lovely. And you take them and you slam the door. And then you're like, all right, that just happened. And the clients are still on the phone. They're like, what just happened? I was like, somebody sent me flowers. And they're like, well, what else happened? I just got my divorce summons like 10 minutes ago. And they're like, well, I hope it's not from the same lady. And you have to keep it together. You're not allowed to laugh at that joke. That shit's fucking hilarious. You're like, no, it was not. Thanks, Michael. And so that was Friday. I gotta say, I love this town, like Front Royal. It grew on me like fungus. I had to live in a Super 8 while I was getting divorced for like a hot minute, and I love every little fucking square inch of this weird backwater. It's my favorite place. I want them to make some kind of a like amusement park that involves the level of hillbilly crazy, but also like gentrification that's all swirling together. It's like, it's a very weird place where you can totally hit like a gun shop and the best coffee shop you've ever had, and then also walk by a sign that someone meticulously painted on their own fence that says, "Don't come in here, I'm crazy." It's over there, it's 2 blocks over, and it's one of my favorite fucking things I ever saw. I was like, joke's on you, I want to be friends even more. Do you get to be friends by painting on this? Like, does he see me? I'm so crazy. Let's be best friends. That's something, right? And so like just the number of stories I got out of this town. So one of my favorites was we had the snowstorm a couple weeks ago, and like the snow came down, and I got to be an 8-year-old boy again, and I'm jumping around, and I'm so excited, and like there's snow on the ground, and there's snow on my car, and I call my PA because I'm so excited. Yeah, personal assistant, really, just like I called her up. I'm like, please. You have to understand how great this is. I haven't seen snow in forever. Like, we're gonna be okay. And I'm jumping around my car and I'm laughing. And there's this very sober-looking woman smoking a cigarette meaningfully at the Super 8, staring at me. And I'm just like, and she goes, "Hey, are you talking to yourself?" And I'm like, no, maybe. No, I'm talking about it on the phone. And she goes, "I thought you were talking to yourself." And I'm like, well, I'm not. What if I was, though? I mean, I love that whole thing. Like, that's brave. Like, you see a lunatic cavorting in the snow, and you're like, "Hey, are you crazy? What did you want me to say?" Like, yes, I have ghosts in my teeth. Whoa! Like, would that make your day better? My PA on the phone's like, "You're not actually having this conversation with another adult right now." I'm like, "I am. You can't stop me." I still like that lady. She's really nice. And like, Another one, same thing. So some lady, we were gonna have a date. She stood me up. It didn't matter. This other guy saw me crying in my beer, but I got stood up, right? And he's like, "I'll have a drink with you." And I was like, "Sure, let's do it. I'm gonna go to dinner first, and we'll have a beer." Who doesn't like to have a drink with a random person? So I go to dinner, come back, I get over. We're at the axe throwing place up the street, which again, business model. You guys are really missing out on the whole like sharp objects that you can chuck after you've had too much to drink. I just love it. And I go in there, and let's say for the sake of the conversation, his name was Mike. That may or may not be his real name. It is, but so I meet Michael at the axe throwing drunkeria, and I get in there, and he's already had too much to drink. It's like 8 p.m. And I'm like, "Hi, Mike, how's every little thing?" He's like, "I had the worst day." And I'm like, "How?" And he's like, "I had a job interview." I was like, "That sounds like a good day." "Job interview? Like, what happened?" He's like, "They were mad at me, right?" And I'm like, "Why were they mad at you?" He goes, "Well, I go there and I knocked on the door and they opened it up and they're like, 'Who are you?' And they yelled at me a lot." And I'm like, "Michael, where did you go for your interview?" He goes, "I went to the CIA." And I'm like, "Michael, don't say anything else. Bartender, I'm gonna need at least another one of these." So I have my drink and I'm holding it like I'm in kindergarten listening to the best story that's ever been told to anybody. I'm like, "Are you gonna tell me everything that happened?" And Michael said, "Yeah, I went there and I drove up and I'm like, just to be clear, you drove to the CIA in Washington, D.C. and knocked on the door." He said, "Yes!" Michael, that's the same thing as like a guy from Russia being like, "So I went to KGB. I was bored, I did not have a job, I knock." He's in a gulag right now, Mike. We're hanging out in front row. "Oh, fuck. You did this today?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "They're in the goddamn room." Shit. I'm a known associate. Fuck! All right, well now I gotta know the whole goddamn story because I'm gonna go with this. So I'm talking to the guy and he's telling me the whole thing and he's just like, tells me that they're yelling at him and they're yelling at him. And I'm like, "Do you have any idea how great this is? Like the number of spooks that are at the CIA right now who are in deep shit because they didn't know who you were. That's their whole job. Who's the random guy that showed up and knocked on the door, Daryl? Like your Christmas bonus is on the line. Who is he? We don't know." So he's like, "All right, well, I gotta go sing." And he stands up like nothing is happening and goes and sings karaoke after that story. And I'm sitting there and the bartender's like, I'm like, "This is not my fault. You cannot blame me for this. There's no way. I just met him today. Come on." Fine. The promoter comes over and he goes, "You look like you sing." "What?" He's like, "No, but you do though, right?" I'm like, fine. So I also have to sing karaoke and I come back, sit down, Michael's like, "So what do you think?" And I'm like, "Michael, I need you to talk to your primary care physician about Zoloft and probably Klonopin. And I need you to start seeing like a therapist on a weekly basis for your impulse control problems." He's like, "Okay." And he calls me once a week. Like, he definitely calls me up. And I only make sure that he had my number so if the CIA ever tries to find me, I can tell them where Michael is. It's fun telling jokes for you guys. Have a great night.